Ooh wee, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile too.
And welcome to Tiki's Universe. It's the show where we recap and respawn to a whole myriad of animated TV programming, a lot of which we're behind on because goddamn Disney XD and their unreliable schedules where they just dump a ton of Murphy's Law episodes on us all at once, and it just confuses the hell out of everything. Blah 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 blah. Rant. I'm sorry, folks. We've got a lot to catch up on our lineup, of course, but obviously our two big flagship series of Tiki's Universe over the past summer have been DuckTales and Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is sadly coming to a close, but thank God DuckTales is going strong. But alas, we're here to talk about the last Rick and Morty episode for like a really long time. So what do you guys think of the Rickchurian candidate? Wasn't all the evil Morty stuff just exhilarating? Oh my God, all the evil Morty plot developments. Jesus, they really took. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So obviously, folks, that fan theory was proven wrong, but I still think it was a great episode.
Yeah.
So beyond the abomination of the title, I did love it.
Am I the only one here that likes the title?
I like the title.
Yeah, I think it's a bit forced.
It's okay. I'm not in love with it, but yeah, I like it.
All right.
It's okay.
So
It's one of the most forced titles I've ever heard in my life.
Geez, I don't think it's that bad.
It's not bad. It's
I'll
just
admit,
really
Mortydate's a bit much. I'll say that much. The Rickchurian, Rickchurian candidate.
Yeah, but the Rickchurian part is fine.
I honestly think the joke is that it's so over the top.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not holding anything against it, but I'm not really, carrying a candle for it. So,
Right on.
Anyway, on to the episode.
So Keith David.
Yes.
Keith David
Oh
was
my
awesome.
God, Keith David's awesome. He's so good.
Oh, he was amazing.
He was
Wonderful.
great in. He was great in this. He really fit the role perfectly.
So essentially, this episode, in a nutshell, like a one-sentence cell line of it, is Rick and Morty snub the president, voiced by Keith David, for Minecraft.
Whoa, how about that, Morty?
Pretty much.
Look at them go.
Oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. The president, apparently the president has appeared in an episode per season, from what I understand.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and of course they have the running gag there. Morty's asking for a selfie, and the president has shut him down. I want to say, in like the main, he had like a cameo. Basically, that's why he kind of is. From what I understand, he's designed like Obama for the reason of they just need a president, and then of course they developed him when they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's so. I love how petty Keith David plays.
Yes.
I love how he's like a petty girl going through a breakup, and it's hysterical. the way he plays the president, he just plays him so wonderfully insecure and petty. It's fantastic.
It's like you dare dismiss us for Minecraft?
I can see you assholes playing Minecraft.
I tell you this, Keith David's a fine actor, but I tell you, I think the best stuff Keith David's when he does voice work, it really is, because he can play it so straight yet be so ridiculous, or the guy really commits to. I think he gets to do more in animation than he gets to do in his roles. Because usually he's just kind of stuck with a government position. Usually, that's usually what we do with Keith David. He's either like a preacher, or he's like a government employee. I'm just kind of jumping to a death at a funeral, or most notably, I guess, Agent Cody Banks is kind of a go-to for what I'm thinking.
God! Oh, I forgot about that.
Because it's usually what he's just kind of the intimidating boss a lot of the time. That's kind of he's the intimidating.
He's also kind of an intimidating boss in Gargoyles, but a much more badass one. Right?
Oh God, yes. Oh,
That's what I'm saying. And voice work is where Keith David, no pun intended, gets to literally spread his ring, gets to spread his wings.
So one of the things I want to highlight in this episode is the Rick versus the president fight scene, which was just that's so amazing.
I love the nut hand. I love the gravity gun reference, though.
Mm-hmm. I would say, like, this is a Family Guy chicken fight done right.
Well, come on, the chicken fights weren't bad. That was like the one thing they had going for them, even when things were getting hopeless.
Like even in the bad episodes of Family Guy, the chicken fight was always a highlight.
Yeah, it's like, why can't they put this effort into the rest of the show now?
All right, but what I'm trying to say with that is that the chicken fights kind of have a reputation for going on a little too long and dragging on, and I think this fight scene has all the fluidity and all the like crazy variety of a chicken fight scene, but it doesn't drag. Like it's very, very well paced.
It is. What I really love about it too, I love all the gadget use. That's a whole
Exactly.
lot.
I knew you'd get a kick out of that. Yeah.
We constantly change gadgets. Like for example, Rick has the laser watch. We have like this epic sci-fi gadget battle. We have gravity guns. We have like almost like my nickname for them are Spy Kids. Basically, we have this kind of the two kind of the kids who are like, I don't know if they're robots, I don't know if they're not, but they're like kind of like it's like it reminds me so much of the plan from the first Spy Kids movie when
yes
they had duplicates of all the people, all the diplomats and all the people in power's kids, and they're robots and they would have taken over.
Considering the way they were killed by the president's machine, I thought they were mind controlled kids.
Yeah, of course they were defeated by candy. Of course, the spider Gatling chair. The Gatling gun spider chair. That's awesome.
yes, and like the Rick duplicates,
the force fields,
the hamster ball. Oh, it's all the drones that the president has.
Oh, well, the deterrent also. I mean, come on, the deterrent was such a great part when Rick is warning. Okay, listen, you have your own free volition here. You have every right not to touch me. Don't touch me, or you will die. Touches him, and he's dead. And I love that he gave him every single opportunity not to touch him, but he just did the stupid.
Why would I knock you out? Everyone wants to be knocked out. No one wants to be dead.
That's what I was gonna say, though.
Sorry, Jacob.
Well, yeah. So let me say this about the presidents broadly here. I want to say I think it's a smart. I love that we're holding a smart mirror. I'm not going to get political. I just want to make it clear. I love that we're. I know. I love we hold kind of a smart mirror up to kind of the current politics without directly referencing it. So there's breadcrumbs there, but you don't need that all to enjoy this episode.
For sure.
I like that it's not kind of pigeonholed by like, oh yes, we're saying something, because no, they're not. It's a really fun character, but you could read into it and you can maybe find some stuff there, and you don't need to. It's unrespected for, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Jacob, go ahead, take the floor.
No, I mean I'm just saying what you guys. I mean, I do have to agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys have said so far, though. Again, Keith David nails the character perfectly here. Especially with his conviction and everything, and basically the over-the-topness of it.
I love how he's so confident that he's just like earlier on in the episode when he takes the shrinking pill, he's just like strutting in like butt-ass naked into that society, like, literally with his junk out.
I love that I love the parking gag, where like the guy's waving him, but he has no idea how to wave him in, and he loses it all. But then I love this. This is why I'm loving this part. The Keith Davis.
You know what that reminded me of? That kind of reminded me of the little exchange Rick has with the guy in the rest and relaxation episode.
Oh yes. Thing. You're right. It is very much like that. Yes. And the fact that he apologizes. I'm sorry, man. I had a long day. I think one of the funniest Keith David deliveries in this was he had so many great ones, but one that I think was just a well-written line delivered by him was basically listing all the embarrassments of the presidency, saying, "Oh yes, we have the Kennedy sex tunnels, the Truman cocaine lounge, the McKinley hooker dump, and the Lincoln slave. The last one's my favorite. The Lincoln Slave Coliseum. He didn't free them all."
I just love how solidly he says that.
I love the slave. I love that it's not just like a slave like exchanges, like the fact it's a slave coliseum. I love that it's a coliseum for the slaves.
I'm surprised there wasn't any reference to Aberdolf Littler.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, this would have been a perfect time to reference him again.
I'll tell you something. I was really impressed with the episode from the very get go, because the thing I was worrying about in this episode was I was curious going into this episode, because again we were going into at least deep down we were hoping it was going to be like an Evil Morty reveal based on kind of the presidential kind of connotation of the opening. But regardless, I was hoping that they would have pulled like an awesome thing where, okay, we're going to have a misdirect, and then we're going to reveal it's the evil Morty presidential thing. And I got half what I wanted there. I'm not mad at it just for getting half, but basically we had a misdirect in the beginning. Where it's okay, they go to the White House and they're solving this little problem where basically, it's kind of this great anticlimax at the beginning where they kind of called the episode on, man, this is boring. This is just boring. We shoot the little kind of alien invasion of the White House. This isn't fun. So that's the thing. I love that was all that we had in the promo, with just that scene. We didn't see anything else. And I'm loving that we actually, we had better stuff after that.
Mm-hmm.
And what they call themselves now. So I was very, very impressed that they still pulled that off, even though it was a different direction.
All right, so should we talk about the B storyline in this episode?
Yeah, we'll circle back to the other stuff. Yeah, let's hit the Beth of it all.
All right, so this is definitely where the hard sci-fi that I love kind of comes into play.
Yeah, the heady sci-fi.
And I gotta say, like, I don't think I've seen Rick and Morty blow up the internet this much since the whole Szechuan sauce of it all. With all the is Beth a clone, is Beth not a clone theories. Like, it's so well done the way it's 100% ambiguous. You know what I mean? Something
funny we should address, because it was like revealed like the day after the episode aired, I guess, maybe the day of actually. The Szechuan sauce. It officially, because I heard there was talk of this, I forgot when they were doing this, but apparently for one day, the October 7th, the Saturday, they're going to bring back the Szechuan sauce.
No way.
Yeah, I told you they were. I told you they were working on it, but here's the thing: though, they officially announced it. That's going to be for one day.
Dude, okay, I'm going to be in Universal Studios this Saturday. I was going to have like a nice-ass dinner at City Walk or something, but screw that. I'm going to McDonald's for my Szechuan sauce.
I mean, look it up. They have like a little display. Like, I don't know if they're going to have this when you buy it, but they have a little display.
I just remember that. I mean, I saw that earlier actually, but I remember the time like the president of McDonald's actually sent Justin Roiland a big bottle of it.
Cool. I mean, that's powerful. And you got to remember, folks, that was the beginning of this season. That's when I'm going into Rick and Morty.
The April Fool's Day joke, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that. I've been thinking Szechuan sauce was there from the very beginning, but no, it was just this season. Folks.
It was the one-off gag.
And by the beginning of the season, they make a big kind of fun joke to end on with the Szechuan sauce. And by the end of the season, McDonald's was so overflowed with like petitions and like messages and stuff. They brought it back. They brought this obscure promotional thing back.
It's just Justin Roiland's delivery of it. He's just a great salesman. He's just like, they had a promotional sauce tied into Milan, Morty, and it was delicious.
It's amazing, right? That they really get that done within the season. That's impressive.
It's my 9th-season arc, Morty. I finally brought back the sauce. My arc is complete.
Beautiful.
I really hope the show sticks to that.
You know they're going to reference that in season 4. You know they're going to reference the fact they actually achieved that.
At least I hope so. It's like they finally brought back the sauce. My lifeline.
Right. Anyways, so back to this episode, guys.
Yeah, so essentially what Beth is going through this episode, something I like to call Clone Saga paranoia. It's very much the Spider-Man Clone Saga paranoia. They're all like, am I the clone? Am I Ben Reilly? What's going on here, man? That's essentially what she's going through.
Like an existential crisis.
Yes. I love the call to Rick. I love how fatherly Rick is being here. Just say, no, you're not a clone. He's being very
While he's in the middle of like a Star Wars cantina smoking a space bong.
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't that what you'd say to a clone?
Basically saying, oh yes, unless you become self-aware and you realize that I'm going to have to, kill you because you become self-aware, right? It's just, yeah, or like, no, something like that.
Like if that actually is his daughter, he just threatened to kill her.
Exactly. So she's very obviously wigged out.
I mean, anybody in their right minds would be. I mean, I don't care how smart you are or how this show views intelligence. No matter how smart you are, you'd be freaked out by that.
Oh yeah. I tell you one thing though, the one element of the episode I'm not feeling. I mean, I think this episode's really strong, except for the Jerry of it all. To be honest, the Jerry of it all.
You never liked Jerry.
I've had my moments with Jerry though. I've had moments where
God Jerry, damn it, Dragon! This was honestly one of my favorite Jerry moments. To tell you the truth.
Really?
Yes.
Really.
Okay, Jacob, I'm sorry we keep deferring to you for this, but break the tie. Like, I thought the moment where Beth goes to Jerry and Jerry plays the music and he's describing their first date and, you know, like the Snicker bar on the hand and like, I just love the detail in that. I love the conviction in Chris Parnell's performance. Like, you can really, I don't know, like it was a genuine moment for me. It was like it was Jerry being genuine, and you know, like he could have, you know, like Beth is basically saying like, look, you can have you can do anything you want to me, and Jerry's like, well, no, I'm not going to just like take advantage of you. I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to remember this really specific memory of you.
He went on so long about the stupid
I don't
Snickers
care.
bar.
It was so genuine.
Jacob went back to it like 9 times.
Jacob.
When Rick does it, it's hilarious to you. So that's he muted. He's ranting right now.
No, he's not ranting. He's just
no.
sound issue. Anyways, no,
I mean, what I'm saying is if Rick goes into like says the same thing nine times over, it's hilarious or something interesting. I'm siding with Tiki on this one. I mean, it wasn't the most heartwarming thing I've ever seen in this show. But it was pretty interesting to see. I mean, he's like the Jerry we've seen in the past could have easily just taken advantage of the situation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. And I think that Jerry, I think this season they've genuinely done some really big steps to improve Beth and Jerry as characters overall.
Well, that last episode we had with Jerry didn't advance him at all.
No, it didn't. But it advanced him in a couple ways.
I mean, I will say though, I do admit they kind of got together quickly at the end. I mean, I will admit that much.
That's what I'm really trying to hit on. I just feel like we kind of
I'm just saying the moment. I mean, it doesn't really bring down the episode to me though, and the moment I will admit though overly detailed, it in any way it shows like how much he remembers and how much he actually cares.
That's what I liked about it. That's exactly what I liked about it.
Like it shows how much he actually does care about her.
And to me, like, I don't know, like. Yeah, you're right. It is rushed. They only have 22 minutes. And, you know, I think it is like a big part of kind of like the full circle storytelling of this season is those two getting back together. You need to have that for, you know, for the ultimate end of the episode. You know what I mean? So there wasn't a way that they were going to get them back together that wasn't really going to feel rushed. But I think this did it about as well as it could have for me.
I gotta tell you, I think it's because the seasons has kind of done a good job, but again, it's up to interpretation. But I mean, based on how the season's gone, and I love how they call back to it. I don't know how intentional this is, but you know, Rick has that line where he basically shows up at the cabin later on, and he basically calls back to that rant he laid on Jerry, where basically, you know, Jerry's just kind of, you know, he's kind of that parasitic runt that, you know, Jerry just kind of digs his roots in the people's lives and was kind of. Basically, he'll worm his way in there, and
I'm not saying that's not true, and that's what I'm saying. That's Jerry's character.
Yeah, and because of that, I'm kind of still erring on Rick's side because I can't dispute Rick's point, and him calling back just reminded me of all that. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the scene was not well acted, the whole Snickers bar. I think it was repeated way too much about the Snickers bar, but yeah, I get what you're saying, Dick. It's a nice scene, but I'm just saying, getting a
if anything, the Snickers bar perfectly captures the nervousness of a first date.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Just I don't know. I'm still kind of airing down. I guess I'm still seeing Rick's point about Jerry in the end there. He's, yeah,
I think that's kind of the point of the episode, though, right? Is like Rick. I think let's kind of circle back around overall, unless you have any major other things to say about that storyline.
About the Beth stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's just the Jerry of it all. It's all really had additionally the Beth stuff. So yeah.
Okay, and like I said, just the Beth stuff is just like really, really well done in terms of the ambiguity of it all. I think that's the best thing I can say about it.
Right.
So the ending of the season, I think, is really interesting. It's obviously it's less of a direct cliffhanger than season 2. I mean, with Rick in prison. However, I do think the ending of this season has a lot more direct implications in terms of like where the next season's going to go. Because I think at the end of the day, I think we all knew they weren't going to spend a whole season breaking Rick out of prison. You know what I mean? I think we all knew that was probably going to be a 1, maybe 2 episode thing at the most. But I don't know. I think the whole, basically the whole resetting of the family dynamic and Rick sort of being in a position where, where Beth just, the one thing that Rick's been able to hold over the family the whole time is Beth's devotion to him. And, Beth's like, her anxiety and paranoia that Rick was going to leave her. And now that that's all circled out, and now that we've kind of got a whole season of character development to really, to really hash out those issues with Beth, and she's in a much more confident place, whether or not she's a clone, about not letting her father push her around or push Jerry around. And so it is very much a change in the status quo, at least of the general family dynamic. He's not in control anymore. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love Tiki. I love the full circle nature of that, because we ended last season with Beth choosing a side. She chose Rick over Jerry, and by the end of this season, we pull, we do the inverse there. Basically, it's gone so far around, and also they've kind of hinted that we're kind of like season 1 without the marital issues now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure that's a tradition for season finales. I'm sure it is for like the last scene of season finales to directly reference that it's the end of the season.
Oh, sure.
Jacob, anything to say about that change in power structure?
No, it'll just be interesting to see. I mean, Rick. Smart or not, Rick admittedly does have a bit of an ego.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if anybody's ever called him out on that, and they probably have. I just don't remember. But it'll be interesting to see like how this change in power affects his ego.
I also really like how the end of the episode before the credits, like, we get that ominous pan on Rick's face, and he's clearly just, like, not happy about the situation at all. And that just says everything, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think next season is going to be, like, basically, if this season was about Rick sort of having more control over the Smith family than ever, I think this next season might be about Rick slowly turning against the family.
If that's possible.
The ending kind of already seeded hints at that, considering they were.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The family was kind of already willing to leave him behind. Even Morty was.
All right, Dragon.
Yeah, we should probably talk about Morty. Speaking of which, Morty was really funny in this episode. I loved how Morty had some great burns for the president. Like the whole peace summit thing of, we're just drowning in peace here, aren't we? And I just want to kind of talk about how impressive it was. Rick and Morty, they able to, essentially the end of the war, gave the president all the credit in the world. It's really, basically the whole, the Israel and Palestine, the peace talks, over in a Star Wars canteen.
Because of course Star Wars solves all the world's problems.
Who doesn't like Star Wars?
Yeah.
Aside from diehard Star Trek fans. Aside from that, who doesn't like Star Wars?
Why not both?
Yes. Why not both? That's excellent.
I need to see Discovery, speaking of.
I'm sorry?
The Star Trek Discovery, I need to see that.
Right. Yeah, right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So let's see. One thing that we should probably hit on was between the relationship between Rick and Morty is that I love this sweet notion that Rick, he stood his ground in the Oval Office because, he wanted to get Morty his selfie. And that was a really great moment with his character. Again, I think broadly to connect to the whole, the Rick ending of it all is that Rick has kind of learned to love the family this season. He's kind of like, I think he's coming more to grips with the fact that he cares. He's not acknowledging it, but I'm saying I think that's the journey he's kind of been through. And now his place in the family is threatened again. Because look, Rick could have gone to another reality because he made that threat to the president, but he chose to stay. As fly fishing Rick, which is. I love that. I just love the cleverness of that. I just love that he was able to undo all the rivalry between him and the president by just putting the.
You can tell my distinction from the guy who did this to your office, from my enthusiasm for fly fishing and my accompanying hat.
So I love the logic of that, because based on the Citadel Ricks and everything, it's not really, again, it's hard to refute.
Right. The president's probably well aware of that, so it's probably not entirely out of his realm of logic to understand. Like, okay, I mean, they're not the Rick, so why not?
Exactly, and the fact that he went through that huge, awesome fight with the president to do something nice for Morty, he stuck his ground with Morty, and again, in the end, I think it speaks volumes about where Rick is and where he might be going. He might fight for the family again, where he's been always been, I can ditch the family whenever I want. In this case, he might be fighting for it in the next season.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's big, and Morty's just really on point. It's some kind of, again, I like that Morty's been growing a spine this season. One of my favorite things in Morty's really had a spine. He's really awesome this season in places. So, I mean, that was
okay. I think really quick we should talk about Mr. Poopy Butthole, of course.
Of course, I thought we were saying that for last. So
well, yes, and then also I think the last thing we should do is kind of give our final thoughts on like not just this episode, but like the season as a whole.
Right, sure. So yeah, let's talk about Mr. Poopy Butthole.
I was so happy. And they like directly address like, ooh wee, sorry I haven't showed up this whole time.
Oh, hey, actually, speaking of Mr. Poopy Butthole, I gotta tell you guys something. You're gonna get a kick out of this. Tiki, I didn't get to mention this in the Comic-Con thing. I forgot about it. But when I went to Comic-Con, not only were there a lot of Rick's
Mr. Poopy Butthole cosplay.
Let me get to. So here's the thing. So there was a fun insurgence of Rick and Morty. Really, there wasn't as much, if anything, last year. This year, there was tons of Rick and Morty because, of course, came back. And there was a lot of there are a few different variations on Rick Sanchez. You had Rick in the prison garb. You had Rick in the scientist. You had a lot of Mortys going along with Ricks. And let's see, there was this table. There's this little section I kept passing on this. And basically, it was a section where they had name brands from the show of cereal, like remember the Lucky Charms parody? They had the Lucky Charms parody. They had Bootios. They had these.
I actually saw Bootios at an FYE once.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was an FYE table. That's what the stand was. It was an FYE table, and they had that. And they also like the plush guys, the plush, like these little plush versions of Rick, Morty, Mr. Meeseeks. I'm trying to think. I know Mr. Poopy Butthole. That's where I'm getting at with this. So there's Mr. Poopy Butthole. Anyway, I bring my friend the following day. It's on Saturday. And my friend, he's a they were fans of Rick and Morty before I was. And also they had boxes, board games and stuff. There's actually a Mr. Meeseeks game, by the way, in a cube that Mr. Meeseeks pops out of.
Oh, God.
So it's really awesome. There's a lot of Rick and Morty stuff, which is kind of delighting. Again, the Mr. Meeseeks box just impressed me so much. Like, oh, man, that is cool. But anyway, so my friend is like, I told him about this, and he's like, oh, my God, you mean they got a plush version? I'm like, yeah. And, I listed out the characters, and old Mr. Poopy Butthole was, he got so excited. Mr. Poopy Butthole, I love Mr. Poopy Butthole. So it's kind of a sad story, too, because apparently he passed it because I showed him, like, oh, yeah, and here's the booth later on in the day. But, as they were kind of roaming around their own, he apparently passed it, and he was like, oh, yeah, and I guess he was going to circle back to it, but unfortunately, someone bought the last Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, it was so sad. I felt bad for him. He's like, oh, you want to get anything else? Like, no, just, one Mr. Poopy Butthole. So, that's a shame. Anyway, so, plush. All right.
So yeah, of course, just the post credits. Just it's very much in the Rick and Morty style. It's kind of like a repeat of last season, where he's basically like directly criticizing the fan base. Like, I hope you weren't just fucking off.
What?
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? Like, I got married, got my GED, had a couple kids. I hope you guys weren't all fucking off. I swear to God, that's a line. Don't act.
Well, no, I thought it was like like screwing around, like effing around. I thought that was always around, not off. But yes.
Okay, what around, off, tomato, whatever. Anyways, it's
one's like, hey, get out of here. The other one's like, hey, I hope you guys weren't wasting. It's kind of the meta thing. I hope you guys weren't wasting your times waiting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So.
But yeah, we have the butthole baby. We have the butthole wife. So yeah, he's been really busy since his gunshot wound that he has suffered from death.
And of course, he directly references the fact that it's probably going to be a really long time until season 4 comes out.
And I love that they had like the most uplifting, ridiculous character deliver that bad news to the fans. I love that. It was kind of like, hey, here's a puppy who's telling you have cancer type thing. That's kind of what they were doing there with Mr. Poopy Butthole.
By the time season 4 comes around, I'm going to have a really long Santa Claus beard.
Hey, maybe, do you think that could be a clue to like Christmas time?
Oh God, I hope so. I'd love a Rick and Morty Christmas episode.
Well, no, I'm saying like they'll be back in December. Like, not this December, but
Obviously not this December.
But I'm saying maybe
That'd be awesome if it was this December. Hey guys, cool. Surprise!
Maybe it'll be a Christmas Day joke.
You know what they could do? They could do like one standalone Christmas special, kind of like BoJack Horseman did.
No, that doesn't. Wait a minute. Rick and Morty, didn't they actually? I'm trying to. They actually had a Christmas special, didn't they?
I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know why, but I remember there was that the giant guy in the sky. Was that Thanksgiving or was that Christmas? But they're all wearing sweaters, and of course, like in the first season, they had a Christmas episode.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that episode, and it was where Jerry's mom and dad had another guy with them or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah, wait a minute. Could that have been Anatomy Land? Anatomy Park?
Yeah, I think that was Anatomy Park.
Yeah, because there was a giant naked Santa in the sky, wasn't
it?
Okay, I want to bring up Anatomy Park really quick because there's a gag that I kind of noticed. I don't know if this is a callback.
Well, there was a game for that too. Take a board game for Anatomy Park.
I believe it. Okay, so remember in Anatomy Park, Rick is like just so proud of Pirates of the Pancreas.
Oh yeah, the pirates. He's scared of pirates.
Yeah, and in this episode we find out he has a crippling fear of pirates.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was funny.
So I don't know. It makes me wonder, like maybe Pirates of the Pancreas was like Rick's way of conquering his fears. I don't know.
I'm down for that theory. I like that. Yeah, it's so hilarious. Like, yeah, I invented Sanchez. All get clown pirate stand downs. Oh yeah, pirate stand. That one was actually right.
Because seriously, like he was like really proud of Pirates of the Pancreas.
I wonder if there's a pirate Rick anywhere.
Oh god,
that would be funny.
Okay,
like if Rick came across Pirate Rick, he'd be scared to death of himself.
Oh, and they compare the clown fear with pirates. Okay, we go on.
All right. Yeah, you're right. So, just final thoughts on the season as a whole, guys. What do you got?
It was different. It was different. I liked it. I think I liked it more once it hit that stride. And of course, we kind of detracted from that with the whole Beth, with the ABCs of Beth. But aside from that, the whole there was a certain point where it just kind of hit after hit.
I think starting at episode 6.
Yeah, I think it was like in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
was, even like the half of that Jerry Rick episode was good. I don't want to say. I'm saying majority of that episode was good, but then
all the episodes were good, but I think episode 6 was when it started to be great.
Like the start was fine. It had a fine start. It was a fine start.
The first episode was really, really solid. I think like stuff like the Mad Max episode.
I thought that one's better on the rewatch. That was a one to appreciate, the Mad Max one.
Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm just saying like some of the earlier season 3 episods, like the what is it the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The Vindicators.
Like I said, all these episodes are good. They're just they just didn't quite hit the quality mark that we kind of expect from the show. And I definitely think starting around episode 6, like you said, with the exception, unfortunately, of last week, we really did hit a stride.
I want to say, what was it? Was the toxic Rick and Morty, the rest and Ricklaxation. That was 6, wasn't it? So basically, it was that onward. That's where the stride was for me.
I still maintain that I personally think Rest and Ricklaxation, as good as all these ones have been, I think Rest and Ricklaxation was the peak.
I think that's here's the thing. So should we list our favorites too?
Yeah, sure.
So my favorite easily. So it's between Rest and Relaxation, Rest and Relaxation. But my favorite easily, just because I was so blown away by it, the one that beats it out just by a little, is Rick Lantis mishap.
Jacob, what do you think?
I need to. I'm gonna look up an episode list real quick.
Yeah, but Rick Lantis, the citadel of Rick's of it all, like the vignettes and kind of the training day of it all. It was just so well done. It's easily.
I'd say that was definitely the most ambitious and artistic episode. Yeah. The one thing I take away from that episode is that, honestly, it's just not the most funny episode.
Yeah, but it's impressive.
It is impressive from a storytelling point of view, definitely.
Like for season 3, I'd say that's my favorite. But in the grand scheme of
I would say definitely the funniest episode of the season was probably Morty's Mind Blowers.
That's fair.
That probably was I mean, this probably isn't my favorite. Actually, this probably isn't my favorite of them.
It's not my favorite, but it just had the most gags per minute, you
No,
know?
for what I'm saying for me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, go on.
I'm saying for. I mean, I'll say my favorite, but a personal favorite. But one that really was a highlight was definitely Pickle Rick for me.
That was a good early episode in the season, for sure. That was really strong.
Yeah, that
That's
one
like-
I could hold a contender for funniest. I mean, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Pickle Rick.
I think Pickle Rick is more just visceral than anything else.
I just liked it for just like basically for that reason, just how funny and over the top it was, and like high concept plus with a good storyline mixed in. And so Pickle Rick, I mean, though for probably for my favorite, I probably would again go with. Actually, I think I will pick that as my favorite one. I mean, to be different from you guys. I mean,
That's fair.
since we don't have all the same pick, I'll go with Pickle Rick.
All right. And like I said, I think Morty's Mind Blowers, it's definitely like not the best episode of the season, but it's like I think there's just so much mileage out of that episode just because there's so much going on in it, and it's a clip show and like a crazy like sci-fi story about memory at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall about the character development in the season, like I definitely think Rick and Morty, it's definitely not at the Disney XD, like, you know, Star Versus or Gravity Falls or DuckTales level of continuity. But I do think they, this season was definitely the most consistent for the character development. And like, I think they could have done more, especially with Jerry, because there were a couple good moments with Jerry along the way, but I thought last episode was a big waste with Jerry because I thought the storyline that they had with Jerry, you know, basically him having the rebound girlfriend, like that could have been good. The problem was they just made Jerry like it was just like one step forward, two steps back with Jerry that episode because it was just like he was just a bigger jerk than ever that episode. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Honestly, Tiki, I think it's like Jerry improved when Jerry wasn't. It is going to sound really weird, but I'm saying I think when the episode was about people's relationships with Jerry, I think that's where Jerry kind of hit. Like for example, again, Morty kind of dealing with his issues with Jerry. In basically the Mad Max Fury Road period. That's when they kind of hit some really good Jerry stuff, and of course, like probably the best moment Jerry had this season was the ending of the whole Whirly Durly thing, where you know he and Rick kind of have that moment, but then Jerry ruins it a second later by asking for a ride home.
right.
So that's what I'm saying. Jerry's a mixed bag. He's always a mixed bag.
So, but you know what? In spite of the ABCs of Beth being kind of a weaker episode, I think the one thing we can all agree on with that episode was it was obviously like a pivotal sort of like jumping off point to get to where we were here with the much better take on the clone thing.
There we go.
And I think just in general, that episode was a really good exploration of Beth as a character. It just had a lot of like really unnecessary gratuitous, like gross out stuff in it.
I love the talking knife, the talking switchblade.
And B, just the Jerry of it all kind of felt like a waste. But no, I mean, I do think Beth is, you know, it's funny. I've heard mixed things about Beth. Like, I've heard some people like really not like this whole, you know, Beth embracing her sort of, you know, the Rick of it all. But honestly, to me, I think she's more interesting this season. She's not necessarily, I think she's less likable this season, but she's more complex. Does that make sense?
I think we needed more with Beth, but I see what you're talking about. Yeah, I honestly was expecting more with Beth this season, but we didn't really get as much.
I think we got a solid amount because I'm
not saying it's like too little. I'm just saying, I don't know. I thought we were going to get like, yeah, actually, I'm sorry saying it now. By the end, we got more development with it. A lot of it's wait and see with the clone stuff, so it's kind of hard to say.
Right. And of course, for all we know, they could just treat the clone stuff as like a complete joke and reference it like once offhand in season 4. Like, hey, Beth, remember you're supposed to be a clone or something? Okay. All right, guys, I think that is about it. Anything else you have to say? This went on for quite a while because it's a very meaty finale.
I don't have anything else to say. I've said my piece.
All right. Ooh-wee! Tune in when we eventually cover season 4 in like a really long time.
Fly fishing Rick.
Gonna have a long Santa Claus beer by then.